look what I've done for us. And he's like, I would trade everything we have to have more time with you. That's when he broke me wide open.
Hey, I'm Michael Hyatt.
And I'm Megan Hyatt Miller.
And this is the Double Win Show, a show about winning at work and succeeding at life.
You know, here at Full Focus, we have identified 9 life domains that you can cultivate to help you be the person that you want to be and live the life that you want to live. Those are body, mind, and spirit, love, family, and community, and money, work, and hobbies.
Today, we're excited to introduce one of our best friends, one of our best buddies, and somebody that we've learned a ton from, and that's Amy Porterfield. She has become a really close friend of our family. She and her husband, Hobie. She's a private coaching client of mine and somebody that we just love hanging around. In fact, I've almost adopted her as a sixth daughter.
I know we jokingly call her Mamie because that's
right.
Amy with an M in front of it, since all of us girls have M names.
That's exactly right. So Amy's got an extraordinary story. She's built one heck of a business, a multi-million-dollar business. It's an Inc. 5000 company. Proud to say she's a client. She's also a former corporate professional working with mega brands like Harley Davidson and Tony Robbins, creator of the highly successful online course, DCA, or Digital Course Academy, which if you're thinking about creating a course, we highly recommend.
Yep.
We've had our entire team go through it, and it's been great. She's the host of the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast, author of the New York Times bestseller, 2 Weeks Notice. She's been featured in a lot of major media. And again, she's just a dear friend. And I think you're going to love this conversation.
So fun.
Amy, welcome to the show.
Well, hello, my friends.
Hello.
I feel like this is just a Saturday night for us.
I know.
It's fun.
If it was, we would be wearing our comfy clothes.
True.
Let's be
Very
honest.
true. And probably a glass of wine.
Probably.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I already said this in the intro, but you're not only a client, because I've been coaching you now for a couple of years,
Yep.
but more importantly, you and Hobie are two of our best friends.
Oh.
And I was telling somebody the other day, I said, you know, Amy could literally be one of my daughters.
We have
Yeah.
jokingly called her Mamie.
I
I
know.
would be the oldest, just to put it out there. But yes, and I
Yes.
am Mamie. The whole family calls me it.
That's right.
All my daughters, for those of you who don't know, have a name that starts with M. Or I said, you could be my sister,
True.
my really younger sister, because you and I map almost identically on all the personality stuff, the Enneagram stuff, our, things we struggle with, all of that.
I love when you say that. Whenever you say I'm like you, it makes my heart burst because I'm such a fan and such a dear friend. So I agree that we really could.
Oh,
that's
awesome. Well, we've got a lot to talk about, and I know that you're committed to the double win, winning at work and succeeding at life.
Absolutely.
And so we want that to be the focus here. But I think what we want to start is, what are your non-negotiables?
Ooh.
Yeah, because I think this is important because, sometimes when people are thinking about the double win,
Yes.
they set an impossible standard for themselves. It's like, I want to be the best in every domain. I'm going to do all the things. And it's just not realistic. And for me, one of the secrets of getting the double win pretty consistently is just saying everything isn't at the same level of importance. There are these few things that if I can check these boxes, I feel like I'm in a good place. It's not maybe like the ultimate, but it is the short list, 2 or 3 things that are non-negotiables for me. So what are those for you?
While you were talking, I was thinking non-negotiables are so personal. Like
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you are in the season of life,
Yep.
what's going on. And so mine have changed so much over the years.
Mhm.
And I've been using non-negotiables for at least 15 years now. And so where I am in my life right now, I have a husband who is retired, as you
Mhm.
both know, and I have a son that's in college. So we have a lot of free time if
Yeah.
I'm not working, but I love to work.
Mhm.
And I could work all day
Yep.
long and feel
Yeah.
very fulfilled. And then I have a husband waiting for me at 5:00, hoping he'll get some attention from me.
Yeah.
So one of the non-negotiables is around 5:30, I'm always quitting work. I
Wow.
can't remember the last time I worked into the night.
I
That's
love
amazing.
hearing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I used to work well into 9 or 10 p.m.
Sure.
And so 5:30, we have this funny thing. I'll walk down the stairs and I'll say, "Hey, love." And he knows like I'm coming and he'll say, "I'm here."
Aw.
So he's ready. So that's really exciting that I've been able to figure that one out.
That's huge. Well,
Yeah.
P.S., Amy has the most adorable husband, Hobie. And I feel like he probably wouldn't like to hear that he's adorable because he's a former Navy SEAL, firefighter. Like he's a real like manly man. But he's also just so sweet. And he adores you.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
And you've got to go to Amy's TikTok account. It might be on Instagram. And see Hobie dance.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It like went viral.
He's
it was
my
unbelievable.
clutch. He gets on video and I get all the downloads and it makes me very mad. So yes. So it's rare that he comes on, but he does.
I like that you talked about being in a season of life where you're basically empty nesters.
Yes.
Because I think, I'm not at that season.
Right.
And so that's a different way of thinking about it. I think, but a lot of people listening are at that stage. And so you really do have to create those artificial boundaries because nobody's saying, Mom, what's for dinner?
Absolutely not.
It's just, your husband down there doing whatever he's doing. And so anyway, I think that's helpful as a template.
Yeah, that one's big for us. And then another non-negotiable is that, I'm a pretty simple girl. I don't work weekends. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen anymore. And sitting here.
Is that a new thing or is that?
It's probably in the last year I've been very solid on it. Mm-hmm. So I was going to say sitting here, it's wild for me to tell you that because, and that's a very common non-negotiable that people have, no weekends, but it is very difficult.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now if I had to work on a Sunday, I'd be like, what? I'd be almost annoyed with the world because that is so not my norm.
Yeah.
So weekends are for family and for rest. And so I've really learned that through the double win, how important rest is.
Yeah.
And so I take that very seriously. And then another non-negotiable, it's all around Hobie and my family. And that is Hobie loves in the morning coffee time. He loves it. And my mind is racing by 6 a.m. I'm like, go, go, go. So a few times a week and definitely the weekends, it's 30 minutes, coffee, phones down, can't see it, and just talking. And my husband's a talker, so he talks the whole time. And I just listen. But that coffee time's important to him. And that became a non-negotiable when he came to me and said, I never see you. We never connect. I'm struggling here with your work. That was years and years ago, and it scared me.
Yeah.
And so I realized quality time is at the top of his list. It's got to be my non-negotiable. So my non-negotiables really center around making a happy marriage because I got the work locked in.
Yeah.
I could do that all day long.
Yeah.
I need non-negotiables around my personal space.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask a question. I'm sorry. I'm going to jump into it.
This is what happens. We literally are in our minds fighting with each other over who gets to ask the next question because we both have five that we just want
I was
to ask.
slapping her leg.
Yeah, right.
Now, of course, I forgot the question.
Oh, that's fine. I have one. Don't worry. So just talk for a second about how this used to be for you because you just
that's what I was. That's what I was
okay. So
you guys are in sync.
Half the same DNA. It really works for us. But I appreciated that you said it used to not be like this.
Yes.
And he came to you because I think
That happened for me too.
Right. It's easy for people to think, oh, well, some people are just good at this. Like it's a innate talent or some character trait. And I love that it wasn't always easy for you. So
absolutely. Yeah. So I've started my business 15 years ago. And in the beginning, the first probably 5 years, it was absolutely every single night. Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about taking a weekend off. That was never part of the equation. And Hobie and I have to say, sadly, Cade, my son, they were not priority. My work was. And when you're starting something from scratch, or if it means a lot to you, it makes sense that you're going all in. That's my personality. But I didn't understand the balance and how important it was. And so I was tired. I was frustrated. I was resentful of the fact that I wasn't spending time with my family, but I didn't change anything. That was the weird part.
Yeah.
Like I was mad that I was always working and I knew that this wasn't what I was supposed to do, but I would say to Hobie, I don't have a choice. Oh, that was something I was so wrong. I don't have a choice. How am I going to build this business if I'm not working this much? So
you should be grateful.
Yes, exactly. Like, look what I've done for us. And he's like, I would trade everything we have to have more time with you. That's when he broke me wide open.
Yeah.
And so I realized.
Did that happen like in one conversation? There was a distinct moment that you had that you were like, holy
There
cow.
was actually. It was.
Yeah.
I remember it very vividly. It was a long time ago, actually. So this was probably, I think, about 5 years into the business. He was a firefighter at the time. So he worked and he was busy. He wasn't retired. But it was, I made every excuse in the book to work. And now looking back, we had our biggest year last year. And I told Michael in our coaching session, I've never worked so little in my life to have my biggest year. So
which kind of unnerved you.
Very much.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm absolutely an example of a double win because I've seen it work firsthand in my business. Yeah.
So how did you go from that though? Sorry, I'm just really excited about this.
I know you are. You go,
How
girl.
did I go from?
How'd you go from, Hobie saying, I would trade all this for more time with you,
Yes.
to you actually freeing up your calendar and dealing with like the kind of internal conflict of, I want to work all the time and I don't think I have a choice?
I think, like I said earlier, that conversation scared me. I actually thought it was the first time my marriage was a little bit in danger because he really had it. It had gotten to a point that he's like, no more excuses. I don't want to hear it. If you don't make our marriage a priority, what does that say? And so that scared me. So right away I thought, okay, I'm going to make some changes for sure. But then it took probably a good 6 months for me to really get into the habit.
I get that.
Right? It would be, I don't work nights, but maybe 2 nights a week I have been working. Like it had to be a slow progression for me. Cold turkey, I actually think I would have felt resentful to Hobie. Like, wait a second, I don't know how to navigate this way and now I can't. If you tell me I can't do something, it's going to be hard. Hobie's well aware. So he let me ease into it. I'm a baby steps kind of girl. So I did like, Monday and Tuesday I didn't work, but Wednesday and Thursday I probably did work a little later. And then it started to taper off because I started to see I can do this. My business is okay. I needed the proof. And so the baby steps helped me. And then also when I realized that how much important rest was when I wasn't working on the weekends and how much better I was to my team, and not working on the weekends and nights made me build up my team. So back then I had 1 full-time employee. Today I have 23 full-time employees. And so I didn't have the infrastructure not to work nights or weekends to get to the goals that I wanted. I didn't know how to do that. The minute I hired some people on the team, that also eased me into, if I have 20 employees, why am I working on the weekends and nights? But to be clear, for those listening that don't have 23 employees, I didn't need to work nights and weekends to get here. Right?
That leads to a question I want to ask.
Yeah.
So I get this a lot, but you've got an extremely successful business.
Right.
And you seem to have this wonderful life, people from the outside looking in. What do you say to the new entrepreneur that says, oh, that's fine for you,
right,
but you can't start a business and make it successful unless you're going to work 80 to 100 hours a week?
I love this question because I tell my students, I want my students to start their business off with a 4-day work week, which is very bold. I didn't, obviously. But I'll say to them, I understand that it's weird coming from me. The only success that I know is working nights and weekends and almost killing myself for the first 5 years. But I have proof that after those 5 years, what I was able to do, I get more done because I'm not working late into the night and weekends, that I know they can get more done than I did back then. So I use that as proof. And I give them the systems and the processes, but I really do believe, and the biggest regret I have is thinking I had to work that much to get to where I am. I do not believe that was necessary.
Well, the truth is when you're tired and you get a little cranky, you don't get as much work done. It takes longer to complete things.
I was going to say that.
And it seems like you could be more efficient. And if you could maintain that level of productivity when you are well rested and really focused and really creative, if you could do that for 12 hours a day, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But you can't.
Right.
That's the bottom line. All the research shows that. So yeah, I love the way you answered that.
Yeah. And so if you're listening and you're thinking, yeah, but I can, like, you're not a special snowflake is really what you're saying.
Yes.
I'm really saying that because I think that I thought for much of my career that, all that stuff's for everybody else. We even published this book when I was in the book publishing business by a lady, and it was basically how to survive on 4 hours of sleep a night so that you could work more. Well, first of all, I have super regrets about publishing that book because that's like lack of sleep
will literally kill you.
Trumps everything.
Yes.
What's that?
And it'll literally kill you.
Yeah, it'll literally kill you.
Truly.
Bad for your heart, bad for everything, bad for relationships, bad.
It's funny because in our coaching sessions, we talk a lot about sleep, don't we? Like how to get better sleep, the different tools you're using. Like I use my business coaching time with Michael Hyatt to talk about how do I get better sleep because I know it comes out in the revenue. Like I see it.
It really
that
does.
Is so fascinating.
Yeah.
So what does rest look like for you now?
So it looks like closing the computer, turning the phone around, like not seeing the face of the phone and being present with my family and my friends, or just, I love to spend time alone. I'm very introverted.
Yeah.
So shutting it all down. It also looks like we have a lake house. So going to the lake and getting on the water and reminding myself in the moment, because I want to be honest, I'll get in those moments sometimes and think what I should be doing.
Me too.
I take a lot of Mondays off now, and being on the water on a Monday freaks me out still. Like it's hard to relax the whole time.
Yeah.
And I tell myself, I get to do this because I've put the systems and processes in place, and I value time away from work, which makes me enjoy the work even more.
Yeah.
So it's still a little chatter in my head sometimes, but being with the family, being on the water, and stepping away from the computer, that's all rest to me.
Okay, so we have a lake house on the same lake, which is really fun.
Fully copied Michael and his family. They didn't follow me.
But one of the things that I love too is to be on the water. But what is it about being on the water that you find restorative?
It's the quiet. I think just having complete quiet around me, and nobody's asking me to do anything or make a decision, or just that peace. Absolutely. And then looking out, I didn't realize I needed nature so much. Looking out at the nature and feeling it's so expansive, and I feel expansive in that. To me, that calms my nervous system.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
love
couldn't
it.
agree more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about your team for a second, because I think this is an area that you have done so well in, because you don't just have the double win for yourself. You've also been very intentional about cultivating that for your team. So will you talk about how you've done that and what's worked and maybe what's not worked?
So I think, we talk about people pleasing and not a very positive thing. However, I think my people pleasing tendencies has allowed me, the good part about it, the silver lining, is to make sure that my team gets to experience some of the double win that I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
So when we went to a 4-day work week, I know some of my peers, they take a 4-day work week, but their whole team doesn't. And that's fine. It works for them. I wanted my business to feel entrepreneurial and not corporate. And to me, freedom is that first part of that.
Yeah.
And I also have a lot of moms on my team. It's primarily women, and many of them are moms. So I wanted them to have more time with their family. So right away when I thought I want Fridays off, I knew I wanted my whole team to have Fridays off. I bought the book Shorter because you recommended it. And that was really valuable. We learned how to do it. We did a trial run. One thing I love about the book Shorter is it tells you, do a trial run, 60, 90 days. Tell your team, this probably isn't going to work. We're probably not going to stick with it, but we're going to try it. And I have to say something funny about a 4-day work week with the team. I went to my team and said, I have a great idea. I think we're going to move to a 4-day work week. And I expected cheers, trophies, champagne toasts. Like I'm the best boss in the world. And they have the audacity to look at me and think, what are you saying? We can hardly get the work done in 5 days. 4 days is going to be more stressful.
Wow.
We don't love this. I was crushed. I couldn't believe it. They didn't love the idea. Then I had my leadership team read the book, and they realized, we have to change a few things in order for this to work. Our structure and how we do our days has to change, but this is possible. And then the book tells a lot of proof about how it works.
Right.
It's very compelling.
Right? It is. Like after you read the book, you're like, wait, I could do this. So once my leadership team read the book, they were on board. But I was very offended, for the record, that they didn't think I was the best boss in the world. But it's been over 2 years now, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It is so important to us. So that's one way.
And you had your biggest year ever last year.
On a 4-day work week.
Yeah.
Yes. So wild.
Just think what you could accomplish if you did 5 days.
Stop. Don't
I thought you were
Wait
going
a
to say
second.
3 days.
I did too. Brooke Castillo. Oh my gosh. You all know Brooke.
Yeah.
She told me when I started the 4-day work week, I was freaked out. Like, what if this doesn't work? What if productivity goes down? What if revenue goes down? I was very nervous. And she said, and if it does, go to a 3-day work week. Like she was so adamant that it's not more time and work that you need. It's the efficiency and the focus.
Yeah.
So when she said that, I'm like, we're going to make this work.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, so what are some of maybe your top 2 or 3 changes that your team had to make to make the 4-day work week work for them?
Number 1, meetings, time together. We had to become more efficient. So you know how when you set up a meeting, default is typically like an hour meeting? That's never our default. It's 30 minutes. And if you need longer, you have to justify why a longer meeting is needed. So you have to think about it first. 2, we weren't doing this before. Whoever books the meeting has to send the agenda with the meeting announcement. So we know exactly why we're having this meeting. So people can say, actually, this meeting's not needed and here's why. And we have those conversations now. Because when you only work 4 days and you're in meetings 2 or 3 hours a day, you are not getting the work done that you need to get done.
We're stacking up.
Exactly. So we had to cut down the meeting time and to ask, is this really a meeting? You know, the joke, that meeting could have been an email.
Yeah.
I think that's true in many ways. So we do less meetings. We also have 2 days a week that there are no meetings. So Tuesdays and Thursdays for my team, nobody is meeting at all unless there's a exception.
That's because you're an introvert.
Yeah.
You made sure there was introvert time.
It's so true.
I
Like
totally
if
get that.
I had it my way, we'd never have a meeting.
Right.
Although I'd miss my team.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tuesday, Thursdays, no meetings. And then a third thing was when we started the double win, and this is great for anyone who's thinking about it, the people that really got it and it was working for them, they had to mentor the people that it was not working. Jill is my longest standing employee of 7 years now. And she came to us and said, this isn't working. She's my content manager. I can't get it done. Here's why. And we took someone from marketing who was killing it with the 4-day work week and worked with her to share some of the strategies. So not everybody on the team is going to click. And if it's not everyone, then it can't be, you can't pick and choose. So if we hear people working on Fridays, we've got to talk about it.
Do you find that there's any commonality between the people who struggle to get the 4-day work week?
Absolutely. Number one, the idea of believing this could possibly work.
So it's a mindset issue.
It was. Like, I think definitely she probably thought, wait a second, this isn't going to necessarily work. And here's why. So she had probably reasons for that. Number 2 is that the way that they set up their day in the beginning made all the difference. So we use the full focus planner. Everybody does on my team. And I think those who really embraced it and used it religiously, I think that they were they eased into a 4-day work week easier.
Yeah. That makes sense. You know, we've found that our moms get this the easiest. You know, like
That's so counterintuitive.
I know it conceptually makes the most sense to them. I think the mindset part is not nearly as difficult. And I think part of that is because they have little people or not so little people who are waiting on them at the end of the day. We don't do a 4-day work week, but we have approximately 30-hour work week. And so we end around 3:00 every day. And that's pretty easy when you've got to be in the car line picking up your kids. Like it's a forced kind of transition point where our folks who are single or maybe empty nesters, it's harder for because like you were talking about, you literally could just work all the time because there's no external constraints in place. And so I think that's an interesting challenge to overcome if you are in a season where you're not in a relationship or you don't have children at home anymore.
So true. You got, the season of life means everything to how things actually click and work.
Yeah.
I wanted to move the conversation a little bit to the other domains of life.
Okay.
And, because if you just listen to what's happened so far, it's kind of all rainbows and unicorns. But of the 9 or 10 domains that you have, what is the easiest for you and what is the most difficult? And you kind of already admitted to the first one.
Okay. When you say domains.
Well, I'm talking about the different categories like mind, body, spirit.
Oh, yeah. So
love,
business,
community.
easiest.
Yeah.
Yes.
So work.
Yes, work is the easiest for me. And then the one that I probably struggle with the most, my health. So over the last 15 years of building the business, I've really struggled with my health, meaning not eating well, not working out, not getting enough sleep. And today, I think my health is in the best place it's ever been, but that is all.
Hard one.
I worked out this morning and I did not want to. I complained for the first 10 minutes.
Me too.
So it's that one. It just doesn't come natural to me. I don't cook. So food doesn't come natural to always have like something great in the kitchen. So if you looked at all those, I think that's the one that I have to be very mindful of.
And I think we all have one like that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so important to just bring this out into the light because it's easy when you're talking with someone or you're watching a video from someone who has a public personality or you follow them on Instagram and everything looks amazing. It's like, oh, they're just one of those people that everything comes easily to.
Yes.
And in our experience, interviewing so many people and having so many conversations where there's a level of candor, it doesn't come easily to anybody.
No.
Right?
That's so true.
Not in every area anyway.
In every area. Another one I really struggle with when you were saying that, it reminded me, I don't know what you would call this, but I don't have a lot of hobbies. I don't have a lot of interest outside of work. And I'm embarrassed by that. I hate the question, what are your hobbies? I just like freeze and I want to make something up like, I am an avid hiker. I'm not, but I just want to say it because I don't sound very interesting.
You're
but
an avid coffee drinker. With your husband.
Exactly. I love true crime documentaries, so which is true. But because I work so much and enjoy the work and find purpose and unfortunately identity, I know that's not super healthy, so I'm aware of it, but it's the truth for me that finding things to do outside of work, it doesn't totally interest me that much.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think that's healthy.
It could be a season thing. It's definitely, I'm not going to say it's not healthy, but I will say that hobbies do really add to your life.
Right.
Because they create space for you to work in a sort of an adjacent field where you often get ideas for your business just out of nowhere. It's completely unrelated.
I love that.
But it stimulates your creativity. And I've gotten really serious about hobbies in the last 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got too many hobbies for the time I've got available for the hobbies.
I can't even imagine. The day I say that, I would roll over. I just can't believe it.
I went to a golf lesson last night and it was so amazing. Best golf lesson I've ever had in my life. And so then I came
Words that
back.
have never come out of my mouth ever.
Never.
And I told Jim, my assistant, I said, okay, I want to do this every week. And he's like, dude, where are we going to put this on your calendar? I said, oh, yeah. So, but I still love that because I feel like I get so much. But the thing I like about it is you can often kill two birds with one stone because I really struggle probably more anywhere than in sort of the friendship category, relationships.
Yes.
But if I can play golf with a friend, I get quality time for 4 hours where we're having fun, doesn't have to be too intense. And for guys, it works best for conversation if we don't have to look at each other.
Oh.
Did you know that?
I never knew that, but that makes sense.
Like if we're in a golf cart or in a boat fishing, we have amazing conversations. But put us on my best friends, I can sit across from the table and have a great conversation. Yeah. But it's just more conducive if I don't have to do that. That's funny. Hobbies serves that other domain too. How do you do on friendships?
I made it a goal this year to be a better friend.
I've seen the difference.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Jasmine Starr is a dear friend of mine, and she said the same thing. I see where you're showing up differently because I've always had great friendships and feel very fortunate in that area. But I think my friends were pouring more into me than me to them, especially those that don't have a business because they'll always say, we know you're so busy. Yeah. I feel so bad when I hate it. Hey, that's so funny you say that, Michael. Right. So when I started hearing that more and more, I thought I'm giving off something that my time's more valuable or something. So I've started to pour into friendships more, show up. Jasmine has this really fun thing where if she's around you and you say something, let me give you an example. We were vacationing together and she had on these slippers in the hotel and I loved them. Well, I got home and they were already delivered to my house. Like she always pays attention to what people love and what they're interested in and she follows up. So the friends that I really admire, I try to follow suit. So I've been doing more things like that and it's made such a huge difference.
Yeah.
So, and it's enriched my life. To be a good friend feels good. So yeah, that part I'm getting better at.
I've often said that if you struggle with friendships, become the friend you wish you had.
Exactly what I'm doing. Yes.
And that's exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
And I had a couple of opportunities to do this yesterday, just to be generous and to give to somebody something they didn't ask for. And in one case, kind of over the top. But I like that. I just like surprising and delighting people and not having any interest in any kind of somebody repaying me or it being reciprocal. It's
that feels good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So a lot of your audience are people that are looking to create a side hustle that probably they hope and they dream will turn into a real business.
Yes.
Right? And so you wrote 2-Week Notice and help people sort of get a path to that.
Yes.
Which was, by the way, a New York Times bestseller.
That's right. Did we mention?
Did we
say it one more
mention
time?
New York Times bestselling author, Amy Porterfield, in the house.
So good.
But how do you maintain the double win when you're trying to do a side hustle? Now, I know how I would answer that because I think there are times when you kind of have to intentionally go out of balance.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. So I'd love what you have to say because I don't know if I have the answer here. I do think there are seasons where you are out of balance. And so with that, what would you say to somebody who has a 9-to-5 job, kids at home, and they want to start a side hustle of teaching women how to get in shape during menopause. So they're going to do videos, they want a membership, they want to do the whole thing, but they have to start as a side hustle. How do you maintain a double win? I'm not sure of that. So I'd love for you to tell me so I could tell my students.
Well, I think what I would say is that there are seasons that you have to go out of balance.
Yes.
But it always, always must be negotiated with your spouse.
And truly temporary.
And it's truly got to be
Okay.
temporary.
Yes. Okay.
So where we get sort of unself-aware and deceive ourselves as we think, oh, this is just going to be temporary. And then it slides right into another temporary situation that slides into another temporary situation, then it becomes a way of life.
Yes.
So if you can truly put a boundary around it and say, like we had a thing when we were recently trying to fill our masterminds, I went to my wife, Gail, and I said, honey, this is going to be about a 1-month project and I'm going to be out of balance. There are going to be a few evenings I'm going to be working. Are you okay with that? Because here's what we're trying to accomplish. And she said, yeah, sure. And sure enough, after a month, boom, right back into balance.
That's good. Because one, not only are you telling your spouse, it's almost like you're telling yourself too.
Well, you're kind of giving yourself
True.
a mechanism of accountability.
Yes, that's
because when
exactly
you say
what
it out
is.
loud, like explicitly to your spouse or, a close friend or coach or something like that, you're basically saying, I'm making a commitment that I'm going to do this thing, but this thing is going to have an end date. They can come back to you and say, remember, it's, May 31st, and you said you were going to be finished with this, and what's the deal?
Yes.
Now, the difference is that when you're starting a business, you're probably not going to do that in a month.
Right.
No.
Right.
So
So I think at that point, you've got to just reevaluate your priorities and not sacrifice things you don't intend to sacrifice. Like I would still make health a priority, for example.
Yes.
Because everything else is affected by that. But I might give up golf or a hobby or seeing some of my friends for that season that I'm in, that I'm just going to sort of not eliminate it, but downsize it a little bit so that I can accommodate this side hustle. Because the bottom line is you got 168 hours a week. And you don't want to steal from the lesser things, or the greater things in order to, basically fund with time this side hustle.
This is where those non-negotiables you were talking
I
about
was just
comes in.
thinking of that. When I was thinking about when I was starting my business, I never sat down and said, I think it's about intentionality. I never sat down and said, what is most important to me before I go into this really big new adventure? I never did the work. I never journaled or thought about it. And if I did, then I think I wouldn't have gotten so off track for so long.
Yeah.
So I do love that you could create your own double win, your own version, even in the most busiest season.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. We have 3 lightning round questions that we ask every guest. And we want to ask these of you. Okay. So first, what's your biggest obstacle in this season for achieving the double win? Be as vulnerable as you want to be.
I want to up-level my business. I want to hit a certain revenue goal. I want to hit a certain impact with my students. I have to up-level. And my biggest challenge right now is going back to the old way of thinking that I need to work more in order to get to where I want to go. And so I literally just talked to my CEO yesterday where she said, I need you to pull back a little. You're getting involved in too many things. Michael knows this is my problem. And so she said, I've got this. Let me handle it. And it's because I want to up level. So I better get involved more, work more. So it's going back to old habits I've got to be careful of. I
love that you just said that it starts with your thinking.
Absolutely.
Because we don't realize how our beliefs about how the world works, how we are, what success is, what it takes to be successful, those are driving our behaviors in so many ways that if we're not aware of, they will sabotage us.
Yes.
Well, true. And I mean, you built your business like I did in the beginning, not knowing any better, through brute force.
Yes.
And as Dan Sullivan says, what got you out of Egypt is not going to get you into the promised land. Mm-hmm. So you got to change your thinking at some point because that methodology will not scale.
Absolutely.
Without serious destruction.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. So how do you personally know that you've gotten the double win?
When my husband is very happy. His happiness means a lot to me. Wow. So when I see our marriage thriving and Hobie happy and feeling loved and supported, I know I've got this right. He is such a great, is it barometer? Would that be the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's such a great barometer for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting as we've asked now quite a few people this question. The answers, I would say, bucket into 2 categories. Either somebody in the family, usually the spouse or the kids, say that they're good, or that you can just tell they're in a good place, or that they experience a sense of peace. I would say like the answers kind of fall into those two categories, which is so fascinating.
Okay, third question. What's one ritual or routine that helps you do what you do? This is a little bit of the non-negotiable, but a ritual or routine.
As much as I don't want to admit this at all, it's working out.
Oh, I hate that you said that.
I know. I struggle with anxiety. Very much so.
So do we.
And
this is the anxiety club.
That we're in the same club. I wake up in the morning and I can feel it racing through my body. Let's say it's 5:30 in the morning. I haven't even had a thought and I could feel it. I get into that gym. I have a trainer that comes to the house 3 days a week. I'm very fortunate for that. We start and it is gone.
Wow.
And after that workout, I feel like a different person. I do not want that to be the answer. I want it to be, I watch Netflix on the couch and it serves me, but it's not true.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Could we put ice cream into that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Well, Amy, this has been so much fun.
I love this.
We could talk forever.
Forever.
We could.
I'm going to ask to be a co-host next time.
Oh, good.
I just want to be here with you all the time.
You just
Well,
come
we
on.
should too if you just do it.
Right?
So yes.
When Michael's done, call me.
Okay, great.
Thank you, my friends.
Great to have
Thank you for
Very
being
fun.
here.
Okay, that was so fun. I think we could have gone on for hours.
I know. I had to sort of have a little conversation with myself of, be reasonably professional. You're not just having a girls' night here. I mean, even with you, still.
I know. And we need to talk a little bit about, and this is something I've been wanting to confront you on. We need to have more of a balanced approach to asking the questions.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm fighting you to get a question in edgewise. And I'm sure you probably feel the same.
Listen, I feel the same about you.
Well, good. Okay.
That means we're really interested in the
really
subject
interested.
matter. And the thing that I love so much about Amy is she's just so darn vulnerable,
know.
like she just is so open about the things that she struggles with, what she does well, but also, what's not that easy for her. And I loved hearing her just talk openly about her marriage and some of the challenges that her entrepreneurial journey has presented there and how she's figured that out and how that has been instrumental in her double win. And also about her non-negotiables.
I knew that was going to resonate with you because you had to come up with some
Yes.
as well. But how did you respond to that?
Well, I think I just felt like, one, I'm in good company. But two, the thing I love about this conversation about non-negotiables is we all know, at least intuitively, there's no way to get it all done or do it all. Like that is not a thing. I was talking to somebody yesterday, a podcast that I was on, and I was saying like, it's not a thing that we're going to give you some magic bullet that's going to show you how to do it all. That's not the goal. The goal is to figure out what matters to you because there is enough time for the things that are the most important.
Right.
But you've got to be clear on what those non-negotiables are. And I feel like that's the answer to is work-life balance a myth?
It really reminds me of David Allen's quote, you can do anything you want, you just can't do everything you want.
Right.
So it's about prioritization. It's about choices. And I know that my big turnaround 20 years ago in terms of work-life balance was basically having some non-negotiables. And it was really simple.
Yeah.
I put some boundaries around my time.
Right.
And so I had to allow space to do all the other things that I wanted to do outside of work.
Yep.
But I had to clear the decks and make room for that. And that meant putting hard boundaries around work. And so Amy's had to do that. She's been an amazing student in many ways.
She is such a good student. I mean, whatever you tell her to do, she is going to do it to the max.
Well, in terms of my private coaching clients, the thing I look for is I want somebody that's coachable.
Yeah.
And she is eminently coachable, which makes her a fantastic coach and a fantastic teacher.
Right.
She's willing to tell you what she doesn't know, and she's willing to lean into what she does know, which gives her, I think, exceptional rapport with her audience.
Yeah.
And I think there's something we can all take away from the way that she runs her business and her life that we can apply to the double win. Because this has not always been easy for her. She and I are kind of the mirror image of one another.
Yeah.
Right? She's an Enneagram 3. She's an achiever. She's never satisfied. And that's driven her to, overwork.
Yeah.
And that certainly happened to me too. And she's had to put into place some things to correct for that.
Yeah.
And she's done a fabulous job.
I loved it.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as we do. We'll be back with another great one in just 7 days. So see you then.